All right, so today we're going to jump headfirst into some Premier League transfer rumors.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so specifically, we're going to be looking at Manchester United's left back, Tyrell Malacia, and trying to kind of get a sense of, what his future at the club looks like.
Right.
Yeah, and to help us do that, we've got a whole bunch of articles from different sources.
Okay, cool.
Like Sport Witness Manchester World and Sports Mole, I think it was.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so let's just dive right in, I guess.
Okay.
It's been a bit of a strange 18 months for Malacia, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, with injuries and limited appearances and even recently having knee surgery.
Right.
It says here he's only actually played in 2 league games.
Wow. Yes.
During that whole time.
Not a lot.
Yeah, so what's been going on?
Well, I mean, one thing is that they brought in a new manager, Ruben Amorim.
Right.
And he's got a very specific system he likes to run.
Okay.
That really emphasizes attacking wingbacks.
Nice.
So, almost like he wants his defenders to be involved in the attack a lot, pushing forward, creating chances, that kind of thing.
Yeah, more involved than usual.
Yeah, exactly. And Malacia just hasn't quite fit into that, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Even when Lou Shaw hasn't been available, he hasn't really gotten a chance.
And now we've got Voteball International reporting that Malacia has actually reached an agreement to leave on loan.
Really?
Yeah, and they're saying that sources close to the player have actually confirmed this.
Wow.
And the rumors are suggesting that it might be Juventus that's interested in bringing him in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe. Because they've got some uncertainty with their right back Danilo, so they might see him as a possible solution there.
Interesting.
So let's say Malacia does head out on loan. What does Manchester United do?
Right. They're going to need to replace him.
Yeah, they can't just leave a hole in the squad, right?
Exactly.
What have we heard?
Well, Cut Offside is reporting that Manchester United is already looking at Rayan Aït-Nouri from Wolves as a potential replacement.
Aït-Nouri. Oh, yeah, he's been having a great season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been amazing.
He's like one of the most creative defenders in the Premier League.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just tons of scoring opportunities created from his passes,
right,
from that left flank. His ability to cut inside and then deliver these pinpoint crosses is just a constant threat, and that explains why he's got so many assists.
Yeah, it says here he's got 4 goals and 5 assists across all competitions, which is incredible for a defender.
You don't see that very often.
So he seems like he would fit in perfectly with Amorim's style of play.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if he's that good, why would Wolves even think about letting him go?
Well, that's the thing. They've put a pretty hefty price tag on him.
Okay.
Like £60 million.
Wow.
So they're definitely not eager to let him go.
So it sounds like it would take a pretty serious investment from Manchester United.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To make that happen.
Yeah.
So we've got Malacia potentially leaving.
Right.
Juventus kind of lurking in the background.
Yeah.
Aït-Nouri as a possible replacement, but with a massive price tag.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, things are about to get really interesting in that left-back department at Manchester United for sure.
Absolutely. And with Malacia possibly leaving, it's going to be fascinating to see how their defense holds up against Brighton.
Right.
A team that has given them some trouble in the past.
Oh, speaking of that match against Brighton.
Yes.
We do have some insights from Sports Mall and The Standard about what to expect.
Okay.
And they've got some different opinions. So
oh, that's always fun.
That always makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Brighton actually has a really impressive record against Manchester United.
They do.
They've won 5 of their last 6 encounters.
Wow.
And their win rate against them is 47%.
Yeah.
Which is the highest of any team in the Premier League.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what are they saying about how this upcoming match might go?
Well, Sportsmole is predicting a draw.
Okay.
While the Standard and Chris Sutton from What District seem to think that Brighton might actually edge out a win.
So it really could go either way.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Definitely.
But before we get into that Brighton game, let's rewind a little bit and talk about Manchester United's performance against Southampton.
Okay.
That was a close one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they did manage to get the win.
Right.
But it was not very convincing.
Definitely not.
It felt like they were kind of relying on individual brilliance more than solid teamwork,
Right.
What do you think? Could that Southampton match be a sign of things to come, especially with this Brighton game coming up?
I mean, it's tough to say for sure.
Right.
But I might give them a confidence boost, pulling off that last minute victory. But
yeah,
Brighton has really had their number recently. And remember, this will actually be the 6th time Brighton has faced Manchester United in the Premier League while sitting above them in the table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a really telling stat.
it really shows you how much of a force Brighton has become
Yeah.
in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not just there to make up the numbers, they're consistently challenging the big teams.
They're not messing around.
No, they're not.
And actually, there's something else in the Sports Mall analysis that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
It says that none of Manchester United's last 11 goals against Brighton in the Premier League have been scored in the first half.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've been completely shut out in the first half for like
11 games?
11 straight games against Brighton.
Wow, that's a crazy stat.
What'd you make of that?
I mean, it seems like they tend to start slow against Brighton, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they just struggle to break down their defense early on, or maybe there's a little bit of a mental block when it comes to scoring against them early on.
Right.
But either way, it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they'll come out with a different approach this time. You know, maybe try to really pressure Brighton from the start. Do you think Amarim might change things up tactically?
You might be tempted to, especially if Malacia is out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who he puts in that left-back position and how that affects their defense overall.
Okay, so we've got Manchester United coming off of a kind of shaky win, potentially missing a key player, and historically struggling to score early against Brighton.
Right.
And then on the other side, we have Brighton, who's full of confidence, sitting above Manchester United in the table, and with a knack for frustrating them.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Sounds like it's going to be a really tense and unpredictable match.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you look at the predictions and you might think Brighton has the edge.
Yeah.
But football is a game of momentum and surprises, right?
That's true.
You never know what's going to happen.
And that dramatic win against Southampton, even if it wasn't pretty, could give Manchester United the edge they need.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the stats and the predictions. But sometimes it's that intangible factor, you know, that spark of inspiration or determination that can really swing a game.
For sure. And don't forget, Manchester United has a history of pulling off those dramatic comebacks and defying the odds.
That's very true.
This is where it gets really interesting for the listener.
Okay.
We've gone from this deep dive into Malacia's situation to a look at possible replacements to a preview of this huge upcoming match.
Right.
It all kind of ties together.
Yeah, it does.
We've seen how individual players' struggles can affect the whole team's performance and even their transfer strategy.
Yeah, and we've seen how a team's recent form, historical data, and even psychological factors can all play a role in trying to predict the outcome of a match.
Exactly. And all of this information is out there.
Yeah.
It's available for anyone who's willing to do a little dig and look beyond just the headlines.
Right.
Go a little deeper.
So as you're processing all this information, what does all of this really mean for our listener?
It means that understanding football goes beyond just looking at the score. It's about putting the pieces together. Yeah. Connecting the dots and seeing the bigger picture.
It's about the whole story.
Exactly. It's about being informed, engaging in thoughtful discussions, and coming to your own conclusions.
It really is like being a detective, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Looking for clues, weighing the evidence, and trying to predict what's going to happen next.
Right. And speaking of clues.
Yeah.
Remember that thought you had about Malacia leaving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's time we'll kind of unpack that a little bit more.
Okay, so we were talking about what his departure could mean for other young players at Manchester United, especially with this new manager, Amarim.
Yeah.
Could it be a sign of a bigger shift in the club's transfer strategy?
It's an interesting question, and I think it really gets to the core of what Amarim's trying to build at Manchester United.
Right.
He clearly has a vision, a style of play he wants, and that might mean that some players just don't fit in.
Yeah.
Regardless of how old they are or how much potential they have.
So, if Malacia, a young and talented player, is on his way out, does that mean that Amarim is prioritizing experience over potential?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, Amarim came in with a very specific job to turn things around.
Right.
Get Manchester United back to the top.
Win.
And he might feel that he needs players with experience who can get results now.
Yeah.
Rather than young players who might still need time to develop.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's got to be tough for those young players like Malacia.
Yeah.
Trying to prove themselves at a club like Manchester United.
Absolutely. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And sometimes the timing just isn't right.
But maybe this could be an opportunity for some of the other young players.
Yeah.
To step up and show Amarim what they can do.
Exactly.
If Malasia's out of the picture, there's a chance for someone else to take that left back spot.
Right. It's their chance to impress the manager and maybe even become a key player in Amarim's plans for the future.
It's a reminder that in football, just like in life, there are always new possibilities around the corner.
I like that.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From Malacia's situation to Ait-Nouri's possible arrival to that exciting match against Brighton.
We've analyzed stats, explored different perspectives, and really dug into the tactical side of things.
But most importantly, we've encouraged our listener to think critically.
Yeah.
And engage with football on a deeper level.
Exactly. It's not just about the scores.
Right.
It's about understanding what goes on behind the scenes.
The whole story.
The decisions, the drama, the human element that makes it all so captivating.
And as Manchester United's journey continues and players like Malacia carve their own paths, remember that the story's not over.
It's just beginning.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Absolutely.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.